Good evening, everybody. I'm going to call this meeting of the Kildover Hills Board of Commissioners to order. Everyone, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we enter into tonight's moment of silence, just want to take a moment to recognize today's holiday and show appreciation for all of the sacrifices and accomplishments Dr. King made on behalf of our country and our world. And also, there's a few folks in our extended Kildover Hills family who are having some health problems, and we'd like everybody to think of those people as well. So please join me in a moment of silence. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. We have an agenda before us, and
Motion to approve the agenda as presented, Mayor.
Second that motion.
any discussion? All right. Take a vote for all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. Now is the time we set aside for our public comment. This is the opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the board on any topic of their choosing. We do ask that when called upon, approach the podium, speak into the microphone, and identify yourself by name and address. There will be no debates. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes if you are speaking as an individual, and 5 minutes if you're speaking on behalf of a group. If you have written remarks, give them to the clerk when you're finished so they can be included in the meeting record. Following public comment, the board may choose to respond to any comments. However, it is the board's option. So I'll open up our first section of public comment. Anything written turned in? All right. Ms. Creed.
Good evening.
Hey,
I'm Donna
Donna.
Creef. I reside at 124 Swanview Drive in Collington, but I'm here tonight on behalf of the Outer Banks Association of Realtors. I'm their Government Affairs Director, and I just want to speak for a few minutes about insurance, homeowners insurance. I don't know if you have seen the news recently where the North Carolina Rate Bureau has filed with the Department of Insurance a rate increase for homeowners insurance, pretty substantial increases. Insurance is based on territories in North Carolina, and we're Territory 110, the beaches of Dare County and Currituck County, and then the inland areas are Territory 130. For Territory 110, they're asking for a 45.1% increase. And for Territory 130, they're asking for a 33.9% increase. And so while those numbers are pretty substantial, you really need to look at the dollar figures of what that computes to. For $200,000 worth of coverage, the base rate for Territory 110 now was $2,908. And so with that increase, it would go up to $4,220. That's
Wow.
$1,300 increase. For Territory 130, the base rate is $1,775. That increase for Territory 130 would go up to $2,377, a difference of $602. So those are big numbers.
They are.
Most property owners, are going to have a hard time with that. I just paid my homeowner's insurance on Friday, and it was just shy of $6,000. And so those numbers are based on $200,000 worth of coverage, which is tied to your house value. The higher your house value is, which is reflective of your coverage, the more your rates are going to be, your premiums are going to be. So I sent information to the mayor this weekend and to the clerk and to the manager. There is a public comment period. DOI has a public comment period by law. They have to offer a public comment period on the rate filing. There's an in-person hearing on the 22nd in Raleigh. There's a virtual feature with that too. But then you can also send in written comments and email comments. And I would urge the board to perhaps entertain the idea of a letter in opposition of this, or at least expressing your concerns about the substantial increases, or a resolution. And I would also encourage you to individually send emails to the Commissioner of Insurance and, just tell Commissioner Causey this is just a little bit too much for us to handle at this time. I did ask that in my email to the mayor that this information be posted on the webpage, the town's webpage. That information about the public comment period is available on NCDOI's webpage, but you got to go to the news, and then it's not right there in your face. It's kind of buried. And so that's all I have tonight. Thank you for letting me speak, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Any other public comment this evening? Two?
Good evening, Happy New Year. I'm Duke Garrity, Outer Banks Humboldt Association Government Affairs Director. I know you have on the agenda tonight to schedule a public hearing for a change to the cluster home and cottage court ordinance. I did speak with the mayor. I emailed the mayor last week. Spoke at the planning board meeting last month. Staff came in with a recommendation for a 2,000 square foot maximum for the cottage courts. At that meeting, the planning board lowered that to 1,500 square foot homes. I'm referencing the ocean impact area. I think a 1,500 square foot home on the ocean front is too small. You know, people say, I keep hearing it every meeting. What they want is to have a house and go back to the way things used to be. You have in your mind a 900,000 square foot cottage court, which is impractical now. That's not what we do. Our houses nowadays, everything nowadays is different. If you look at these small houses, even though they're small square footage, people still want the amenities they have in some of the bigger houses. I can't remember the last time we put a house in without a granite countertop or without stainless steel appliances. So the numbers get up there again. People come down here looking for a vacation, a dream vacation, spend it on the ocean front. We've sold that. That's what we're known for. And I can't see somebody paying money to stay in a 1,500 square foot house on the ocean front. I think they make a mistake. I'd like to take a little time, go over it with planning staff before the public comment. I just want to give you a little something to think about in the next month. I know I have a lot of traveling to do in February. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make it back. I can't remember the dates exactly right now, but I know I have 3 trips to make. But I did want to speak about it. We were very happy with the ordinance when it came out, and I can understand that the 2,500 square foot with a swimming pool was a little bit too big for a cottage court. So I was happy to see the ordinance the way it came from the staff when the planning board got a hold of it. There's one person in particular, she says, well, I have a 900-foot house and I have plenty of room. So we're not into those kind of houses anymore. That's not what we do. It's the cost of the land. There'll be no payback, no return on investment for the developer or buyer of the houses. So I just want to give you something to think about the next month before the public comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak in public comment? Dennis?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, and everybody. My name is Dennis Pohl. I'm a homeowner in Wright Shores, and I bet you're all wondering what I want to talk about. Of course, the item is going to be the beach access at 4th and 5th Street. At the December meeting, I believe the mayor asked the planning department when the last update was for shoreline access plan. And somebody mentioned 20 years. So I asked Michael Odell if he could get me a copy of that report. And he got back to me immediately. Thank you, Michael. And also gave me a report on the 2019 summary. And what that did was, I was really kind of surprised. A lot of good information, because on the 1998 report for 5th Street beach access, it was possible improvements include a shower and also temporary restroom facilities. On 4th Street, on the report for 2019, same thing. Possible improvements include dry shower, temporary restroom facilities. It's been over 25 years. And the report in 1998 recommended those. It hasn't been done. On 4th Street. 4th Street at that time, at the first report in 1998, it said some information about a handicapped access walkway that was there. And I think that's the reason why, for improvements, that they did not put in for a shower or for temporary bathroom facilities, because the walkway I don't think would provide that. I used to use that walkway. Also, I got pictures to show that. In 2019, possible improvements, dog pot station. That was put in this year, by the way. Remove damaged walkway. It's been 4 years since that time. This year, the walkway was removed, but as far as I know, there's been no plan to replace that walkway. So the thing, it was mentioned that we're going to have another update soon. If we're going to have another update soon, why don't we complete some of the things that were recommended for the update in 1998 and also in 2019? Bathrooms, temporary bathrooms. One of the things at one of the other meetings, I think it was in October, that was mentioned was the accessibility for portable bathrooms. Yes, for portable bathrooms. And I contacted the person who's the president and owner of, what's the name of it? OBX, Atlantic OBX. They're the people that currently provide porta potties for the town of Kill Devil Hills. And I met with him. We went to the 4th Street access, the 5th Street access. He said there's no problem. Okay.
Dennis, you're close to time.
Oh, really?
Wrap up.
Oh, I'm also for the next thing. Let me know when it's 3 minutes. Okay.
You're passed.
I passed. Very briefly, I've recommended time for the next public comment too. Very briefly, it's time to get these things done. I'm 77 years old. The people that live in the area, the people that visit the area need, want, and we demand those things to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Would anybody else like to speak at this first public comment? Hearing none, we can move on to response to public comments. Ms. Creef, thank you so much for your detailed report and talking points. It really, routed our cages and got our attention, and we've been working pretty diligently ever since, and we will address the requested homeowners insurance increase later on in the meeting. Mr. Garrity, thank you for, bringing us, sharing your perspective on the planning board's work. I'll let anybody else chime in as they see fit, but, all perspectives are welcome there. I don't want to speak too much, just open it up for the board. You guys have anything you'd like to share?
I'm gonna comment. Obviously, the insurance is a real concern. Obviously, we should all personally object to it and object as a board as a resolution. I think that would be good. I am concerned constantly about the working class being unable to live here. So that's just another step in many steps of making this more expensive place to remain. So it seems disproportionate anyway, the increase. So I'd say that to that, and then to the other, I have nothing at this time.
Well, Dennis, thanks. Nice to see you again, sir. And thanks for keeping us abreast in your concerns. And it's always nice to hear from you, and we will certainly take your concerns into account. And all right, if that is all we have for the response to public comment, any ongoing business this evening? No. And that being said, let's move on to new business. Item number 1 is designation of official bank depositories. And Assistant Town Manager, I'll turn it over to you for a summary.
Okay. There's a request for banking services was recently distributed to 7 North Carolina banks and the Finance Department. There's a memo attached where they're recommending that the selection of the depository account and the safekeeping services providers, official bank depository is Town Bank, and safekeeping services to Wells Fargo. Staff requests approval of the institution through the board's adoption of the resolution, which is attached to your information there. By general statute, the board has to approve the depositories for the town.
All right. Questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to approve the official bank depositories.
Second.
Second the motion.
Further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, unanimous. All right, let's move on to new business item number 2, subscription type residential curbside recycling service.
Bay Disposal has been responsive and cooperative with town staff and its customers in Codouble Hills. There are a couple things here with the annual rate increase request. Attached, you'll see the memo highlighting the request by Bay Disposal for an increase in the subscription from $13.99 per cart per month. This is a 6% rate increase from the previous rate of $13.20, which was implemented back in April of 2022. And the request for the rate increase is due to operational costs. So, but staff recommends the Board of Commissioners approve the rate to $13.99 per cart per month.
Do we have to
A
do
motion is, if you would treat them separately.
separately?
A and B,
Okay.
perfect,
We
yeah.
think- Well, any discussion? Anybody want to make that
No, I
motion?
think it's a pretty, prices are going up and everything, fuel, and all that. So I understand it. And I've had a couple of times to deal with them personally, and they've given excellent customer service. I've really been impressed. So, yeah, I would make that motion to approve.
I'll second.
I'd like to say I was happy to see how many customers they have. People, that many, 1,050 people are actively recycling and
Yeah.
willing to invest their time and money into doing so. That's pretty good. Well, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, passes unanimously. And let's move on to item 2B, the franchise extension request.
Okay. This is the town's franchise agreement with Bay Disposal. They provide a volunteer subscription, curbside recycling program for the town, and its last renewal was for a 5-year term in 2019. The attached public services agreement details the history of the agreement, and the current services term will expire May 1 of 2024. And they've expressed an interest in continuing its service relationship with the town. Staff recommend the Board of Commissioners continue the franchise agreement with Bay Disposal for a 5-year extension to conclude May 1st of 2029. And a motion would be in order.
Mayor, I'd move that we approve the franchise extension request for Bay Disposal as included in new business item 2B.
Second that motion, Mayor.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, it passes. All right, moving on, to new business item number 3, residential garbage truck replacement. Assistant Town Manager, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. In the 24-25 budget, there were 2 garbage trucks that were scheduled for replacement. And staff have identified that the serious supply chain and component shortages along with ever increasing costs. Public Services attached memo highlights these difficulties facing Codouble Hills and municipalities across the nation in supplying and maintaining a heavy truck fleet. So on behalf of the Department, Public Services Director Steve Albright has requested to accelerate the replacement schedule for these 2 trucks to the 23-24 budget, since the townwide financing package has not been finalized. This action will result in avoiding anticipated cost increases between now and August, and manufacturing delays, and taking advantage of the pre-purchase of chassis, resulting in faster delivery times. Staff recommends the approval of the Public Services request to accelerate the replacement of the 2 residential garbage trucks in fiscal year 23-24. Board guidance is requested, and a motion.
All right, Discussion?
Has anybody indicated what kind of increased costs they're anticipating, or do we know that, Steve?
Yeah, we have Steve here.
If we're 6 months away from August, we're projecting probably another $20,000.
Wow.
Because it went up substantially. The plan year budget included the $344,000 per truck, and that was done a year ago. We had got actual numbers, and they were projected ahead, and we just in the last 2 weeks got updated numbers, and it's around 400,000.
Wow.
I
Wow.
was shocked.
Thank you.
So it was been a $60,000.
Yeah.
$400,000.
Thank you so much for bringing that forward. That saves a lot of money.
So if you see that same escalation over the next 6 months, it could, like I said, it could be another $30,000.
But I was shocked at the number.
Yeah.
Period. $400,000 for a garbage truck. But is that like shopped around? I mean, is there one company that
Yes.
makes garbage?
This is actually taking care of the North Carolina Sheriff's Association purchasing agreement. And then actually they want to be competitive. So they provided in here an additional discount. I think he's got a note in here. Or maybe that was in the email, but there was actually like an additional $30,000 deduction beyond the Sheriff's Association deductions.
Well, again, that's phenomenal to be able to save that much money, and thank you for that.
And the fleet group is very excited because the body manufacturer pre-ordered these chassis. So if we were to wait until August, you're kind of at the back of the line. And so it's about a year to get the chassis. Then it's got to go to the body manufacturer and you got to get in line there. So by taking advantage of this, the chassis are already on the ground at the body manufacturer. So we'll end up seeing, again, fleet maintenance is very excited. The new trucks as much as 18 months earlier than if we wait till August.
Wow,
Right.
18 months.
Well, Mayor, it's indicated that they don't actually need a motion, but I would suggest that we by consent agree to moving forward with this.
I think they,
Meaning you didn't need a motion if you didn't want to take action, if you had no
I'm sorry.
recommendation.
Okay.
But if you do, a motion would be in order.
Okay, then I'll be glad to make that motion. I would move that we approve new business item number 3.
Okay, we're-
You put that board guidance, that threw me for a loop. It's been a long day.
do you have a second for this?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you, Steve.
All
Thank you.
opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Yeah, the time savings that really got me, 18 months.
Yeah.
We waited.
I know.
And with the demand on our equipment, especially in the summertime, I'd rather be ahead of the curve than behind it. So,
Good point. Good point.
all right, we move forward to committee reports. Anything to report this evening?
The only thing that I have to report is that I have a tourism board meeting on the 18th, and I'll find out what other committees I'll be participating in. So,
How exciting. Very
Yeah.
nice.
No committee report here.
Anything?
Nothing's,
Commissioners agenda.
No agenda for me.
nothing, sir.
nothing.
All right, that brings us to our mayor's agenda. A couple of things to share. My paperwork in order. So the first thing, and before I jump in, I really would like to thank staff for getting this together on extremely short notice, shorter than we'd like to. And again, thank Ms. Crease Mima for getting us informed in action. But I'd like to propose a resolution opposing homeowners insurance rate increase requested by the North Carolina Rate Bureau for all the reasons that we've already heard tonight. You've had a chance to listen and discuss, and I would like to get the board's feeling on moving forward with this resolution.
Second it.
Mhm.
Any further discussion? In that case, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we have a resolution.
Thank you, Donna.
And we'll get this out on all our town, town and personal, social media, news outlets to
Yeah.
really spread awareness, because this was a jolt I didn't look forward to when I read it the first
No.
time, so.
And it's important that we get that link out there.
Mhm.
We need to encourage all citizens to
Yes.
write their own letter to Commissioner Causey.
Quick
That's
question, just so if you got experts here. When these proposals are made on behalf of the North Carolina Department of Insurance, they only have one day scheduled for the whole state for in-person comments? Because it seems it affects every homeowner in all of North Carolina. Please go ahead. It's not a very big window to be heard.
Right, so their rules are set by North Carolina law, and so they have to provide public comment. And that's how they do it. They do it in Raleigh, but they are having that virtual option this time, which I don't know if they've done that in the past. Typically, people send in emails, and I feel fairly confident that Commissioner Causey's office is going to be getting a lot of emails, because the North Carolina Association of Realtors has done a call for action for all realtors in the state of North
Wow.
Carolina, because this is for all homeowners and all across the whole state. The coast bears the brunt of it. The increases, the ones for further south down in New Hanover County are asking for 99% increase. It's pretty outrageous. But their rules are set by state statutes. And so they have this public comment period. After the public comment period, the commissioner can deny the request, or he can schedule a hearing, at which time they go through negotiations and then they settle, which is typically what happens. So they ask for this and then they settle back to this, which seems kind of disingenuous. If you know that a 10% increase is what you really are asking for, but you go in and ask for 45, so you really get what you want. That just doesn't sit right with me. But anyway, I appreciate you guys adopting the resolution tonight, and again, posting that information on the webpage.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Second piece of business for Mayor's agenda is I want to remind everyone that time is almost up to submit an application to be considered for the vacancy of our Board of Commissioners. Applications will be accepted by the Office of the Town Clerk until 5 p.m. on tomorrow, January 16, 2024. Applications may be submitted online through our website. All timely submitted applications will be sent to the board by January 22nd, 2024. Our members will then individually review the applications and may contact applicants to obtain additional information or clarify information submitted. And during the February 5th, 2024 meeting, we will use a nomination and ballot method to fill the vacant seat from the eligible candidates submitting applications. So one day left for anybody who would like to apply to be on this board. And that's all I have for Mayor's agenda. Town Manager's agenda.
Nothing.
Town Attorney.
Nothing, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you. Happy
All right,
New Year.
let's move on to our consent agenda.
Okay. Consent agenda, you have the minutes from the December 11th, 23 meeting. You have your November monthly report. You have a budget amendment number 7 to appropriate grant funds for drainage channel rehabilitation of the Bickett Street ditch. Annual certification of firefighters. Rosters must be certified by each local governing board in order to maintain eligibility for pensions and line of duty death benefits provided for firefighters by the state. Approval of the consent agenda will record the board's certification of the fire department roster. Item 5, resolution authorizing the sale of unclaimed and found property. You have an attached resolution authorizes the sale of the listed items. The town of Kildover Hills utilizes govdeals.com for surplus and found or unclaimed property. Approval of the consent agenda will record the board's authorization for the sale of unclaimed property in accordance with the requirements of the general statutes. We have an amending name of Town of Kildover Hills local historic landmark property. Initially designated as a Kildover Hills local historic landmark property on December 14, 2015, the Young and Cottage located at 201 Random Street was recently purchased, and the owner submitted an application for a certificate of appropriateness to rename the property as the Markland Cottage. At its January 10th, 24 meeting, the Historic Landmarks Commission approved the name change. Since there is no change to the property apart from the name, there is no public hearing that's required. Approval of the consent agenda will record the board's approval of the name change for the property at 201 Random Street to the Markland Cottage. Number 7, schedule 2 public hearings. Planning board's attached memorandum details the proposed amendments to the town code. At its December 19th meeting, the planning board reviewed and forwarded the following amendments recommending approval. The first public hearing of proposed zoning amendment 153.310 cottage courts and 153.311 cluster homes. Proposed modification to cottage court and cluster homes regulations. Staff recommends approval of the requested amendment, which reduces the maximum size of dwelling units, creates an additional front yard back setback in the OIR, and creates a tiered separation of structures based on gross square footage and heights. A proposed zoning amendment of 153.073 landscaping requirements, modify buffer requirements for commercial uses. Staff recommends approval of the requested amendment, which increases minimum buffer areas for incompatible uses and zoning, clarifies 3 different buffer categories: incompatible use, incompatible zoning, and compatible use and streets. Staff recommends scheduling 2 public hearings for Monday, February the 5th, 2023 at 6 o'clock. Approval of the consent agenda will schedule these items for public hearing. Staff recommends approval of the consent agenda, and a motion will be in order.
Move to approve the consent agenda as stated.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Consent agenda passes. All right, now we move on to our second session of public comment. The floor is open. Anyone who would like to address the board. Mr. Prohl?
Dennis Bull, Bright Shores. I'll make this real quick. 2 questions. Number 1, at the last meeting, we were informed that there won't be a traffic assessment until on West Fifth Street, until all the Wawa, the paint store, car wash are going to be in business. I was just wondering what the cost difference would be to have that done before all the construction was done versus having it done after the construction was done. The second thing is, I read today that the state of North Carolina what they've done is they've announced that there's going to be $3 million grant going to be provided to the 20 coastal North Carolina counties. And I'm wondering, the question is Kill Devil Hills going to apply for part of that grant for improvement of the 4th Street beach access and Kill Devil Hills for the replacement of the walkway? Thanks.
Thank you.
Response? Regarding the traffic study, I know when Target first came in, there was a really energized, organized group, I believe, from Avalon Street. And they pushed really hard for a traffic study. It really doesn't cost the town much of anything. We just asked DOT to do it, and however they feel about it, they do it. But it came back inconclusive, and I think a lot of that kind of was the same sentiment as the infrastructure is not in place yet, so we're not going to get accurate numbers. So having already gone down that road with our friends in Avalon and that neighborhood, that may be the rationale behind waiting for all these projects to be finished so we can have a more accurate, we could do a traffic study, a request will be done. We want to make sure that we get good data so we know what we're dealing with based on their experience.
Well, and I also fear if we continue to ask too far ahead, eventually they're going to say, we're not going to do it again, So
We are at the state's mercy.
Right,
when it comes to
Right.
those requests.
That's right.
right,
So they get to decide
So if we
ultimately
continue to
whether
act-
they're even going to do a study.
right.
So,
So if we continue to ask when it's not an appropriate time, then we might get told no.
Because we
eventually.
got Lake Drive was a few years ago, and that got us the desired result. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
having recently requested one, and we may want to stay set out till we
Right.
feel like it's really needed. As far as that grant, shoot me a link or an email with the information, and we'll love to take a look. We want all the money we get our hands on, so absolutely, we'd be happy to study that, entertain it. Further response, questions?
I would indicate probably the best thing to do would be to, Dennis, get up with, Mr. Ray and talk to him and give him that information. He does a wonderful job with our grant program, and he can put it in some sort of format to be able to
Mhm.
move it forward.
Yeah, we typically take advantage of the CAMA, shoreline access grant.
Yeah.
Every year that we can, especially
That's
when we
right.
have engineering and documentation already in place and, funds allocated for a project.
That's
Right.
what he's speaking of, this grant.
You're talking about the shoreline access.
No, I'm not. This is going to be a special, it was just, I read it on the Coastal Studies website. It was just announced, I think, on the 12th. And it is not, I don't believe, but it's not part of the CAMA grant. And I've got the link if you want.
Yeah, if you want to circulate that through Michael or through the clerk's office, that'll be fine. And I mean, we're always looking at any grants we
Any
can get.
grants we can get, yeah.
A lot of times we might not meet eligibility requirements, but we're going to at least
Right.
make sure of that.
Yeah,
So we're going
look
to
at
look
it and
into
try.
that. So, but yeah, we'll be sure to take a look at that.
Yeah, sure.
The release said that local governments must submit a pre-application by 5 p.m. April 15th and will be notified by May 10th if their proposal is selected to submit final application.
Yes, that's the annual shoreline access grant.
Yeah,
It's they allocate new funds for it every year, and the amount of money available changes. But that's an annual grant.
I got you.
If
Okay.
it's something different, we'll look into it. But
Yeah.
we'll keep it on our radar.
Thank
Sure
you,
thing.
sir.
May I ask as a citizen, maybe Charlene can answer this. I've noticed some of the lights are off, and I know that's DOT thing, but a real thing I noticed is the light on Fifth at night coming onto the bypass. It seems like it's mostly at night, but maybe it's all day. It's not changed.
It's
Does
all
not
day.
change. Yeah.
It's all day.
Okay, you've seen it. It doesn't
Yeah.
change, and or I've noticed it change in the day, but it's at least 10 minutes, and at night it does not change. I've been there, like I'm going.
What light are we talking about? Is
The
it
light on Fifth and
At
the bypass.
Fifth
Stoplight?
onto the bypass.
the stoplight?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. It just doesn't change when you're going left onto the bypass. And I
It's
don't
not
know.
consistent though. Sometimes it does, and then sometimes it's.
And it might
it's
be the
bizarre. I've
strip
noticed
or
it.
whatever else, but I've gone,
I've
we've
noticed it a
gone
couple
back and
times.
forward and rock and all that stuff. You do all the things you do to try to make a light change, and it just won't change.
We can check into that. I know when they were doing the construction that there were a lot of changes they made. to
Mhm.
stoplights.
Sure.
Yeah.
So.
It's not even a timer thing. I know that. It's way worse than that. Yeah. It seems broken.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
Well,
Check into
I'm glad I'm
that.
not the only one. You seen it too? Chief, you seen it?
I always hear the Wright brothers when the Wright brothers is closed and the traffic light signals and there's
Yeah.
no one home.
Oh, that's
You know-
interesting.
Nobody's
Yeah,
there.
That light
Yeah.
used to never change. That Wright Brothers light never changed. Now it changes without anybody pulling up. Obviously, it's closed at night and the light.
And as Charlene said, I think that was similar during road construction. It was put onto a timer and it hasn't been changed back to being on a sensor. So
So as DOT's commented
yeah,
that.
but we can find that out. We've been
Because that's also weird. Yeah, you're not expecting it to change, and it's even at weird hours at night. It just changes, you know.
Yeah.
I drive around late at night, so.
Okay.
Unless there's anything else to discuss, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
you're not the only one.
Okay.